Miss Maro, are you in? Yeah, there you go. Okay, the employee meals in this cafeteria will just be requiring you a weekly cycle menu. So when you say it's a weekly, since when you're talking about employees, usually employees just come in Monday to Friday. So that would be 5 days of meals that I'm gonna require you to make. So if you create a weekly cycle menu for your cafeteria's employees meal, daily menu should include all the nutritional components present in the food pyramid. I am, I think I already asked you if you had your Nutri. You did have your Nutri classes already, right? Have you?
I haven't, miss.
Not yet pa po.
Not
Every,
yet, miss.
Check pa po.
Not yet po.
oh, okay. But in any case, okay. So I thought you had your Nutri classes already. In any case, this is a very, very simple activity. Okay, all you have to do is to create meals. Like you could stick to just doing Filipino menus so that you're more familiar with it. Or in the case of Seiko, um, if you want to do Korean, it's okay, but make sure you put it in English, not in Korean, in not in Korean language, so that I will understand what your dishes are. So to give you an example, I made here an example of a weekly cycle menu. So in total, you just have to provide me 5 days of menus. Okay, very, very basic. Just think of what you eat at home. Okay, even as simple as that. Simple meals that are prepared at home. Okay, so what are these? For example, um, for Monday's lunch, this is actually a lunch cycle menu. Okay, uh, I wrote down here pork adobo with tomatoes and itlog na maalat and steamed rice. So when I talk about the food pyramid, your meal should be complete with the following. It should be have a carbohydrates or your starches, proteins, which are your meats, fibers, which would be your vegetables, and of course, a very, very simple dessert. Okay, is that understandable enough for you guys? Even if you did not haven't taken Nutri classes yet, um, these components of a meal are everyday or our everyday meal usually, diba? When we eat lunch or dinner, even for breakfast, we always have a meal. What do you call this? Food items that have all of those present in our plate. Okay. So for Monday, I wrote down here pork adobo with tomatoes and itlog na maalat, steamed rice. So all of the representatives of the food pyramid is present there. You have the carbohydrates from your rice, your proteins from your pork adobo, your vegetables from your tomatoes. Okay, and I have a very simple dessert of buko pandan. For Tuesday, I have a chicken afritada. Now, if you notice, I put the chicken afritada only. Why? Because your chicken afritada already has vegetables. It has potatoes, it has carrots, it has um, bell peppers, it has sauce also. So it's already a complete ulam in itself. So I did not put any more vegetables. Steamed rice again for your carbohydrates and fresh watermelon slices. Okay, and so on and so forth. If you look at my cycle menu, I made it um, one protein each day, one different protein each day. Meaning, for example, for Monday I used pork. Tuesday I do chicken. Wednesday I did fish. Thursday again made a chicken recipe, and then Friday I used beef. So please make sure also that you do um, uh, or prepare um, these kinds of meal pairings, no? So that you could also have all the complete proteins in a week. Okay, so this is an example of a weekly cycle menu, meaning on Monday next week. So let's just say today's February 1. On February 8 next week, I will have the same menu. Okay, you understand, guys? Did I explain it well? Did you understand what I meant by this? By the cycle menu and the homework itself. Guys, sumagot naman kayo.
Yes
Please.
po.
I only heard one person. Did you all, how about the rest?
Yes,
Yes,
miss.
miss.
Yes
Yes
po.
po.
Yes,
Yes
miss.
po.
Yes
Okay,
po,
Po.
miss.
good. So Just keep it simple. The dishes does not have to be very, very, to give you no, it's just an employee's meal. So keep it as simple as possible. Why? Because employees' lunchtime are usually less than an hour. Okay, and they would even include siestas, or they would take a nap for a while. So eating simple, quick meals is a must for them. Okay, it's an advantage for them. So don't worry about, oh, it's not an Italian dish or whatever. It's okay. Okay, so just keep it simple. So the daily, okay, the deadline for your section is on February 8th. Tama ba section nyo? Yes. February 8th. That's next Monday. Okay, and then, there you go. And then also, this is part of your, no, no, wait. I already changed this already, so this is not anymore. Your first quiz I already announced earlier. Okay, so this is your homework number 3. I think I've opened it up on the Dropbox of Big Sky already, so you could already start doing it after our class or within the week. Submit it within the week. All right? Everyone clear about this homework? Yes, thumbs
Yes,
up.
miss.
Okay, good.
Yes,
Yes
miss.
po.
Yes, miss.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, so let's now continue to our main uh, main topic for the day. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes, miss.
Yes, miss.
Okay, thank you. All right, so our topic today will be on standardized recipes. Now, this is a very important topic because as soon as you do your prim labs, you will need to know how to read recipes, understand the recipes. Now, the term standardized, as mentioned here, why not just the word recipe, no? Okay, when we talk about standardized recipes, we will be discussing about the structure and the functions of standardized recipes, and you will understand the recipes used in the laboratory to practice basic cooking techniques. So, that is the main purpose of understanding what a standardized recipe is. Okay, so to give you a gist, a standardized recipe, why is it present? Why do we need to use this? In order to duplicate a dish, it is necessary to have a precise record of the ingredients, their quantity, procedure of how they are prepared and cooked. Say, the keywords here, to duplicate a dish. It has to be precise. The ingredients, the quantity, and the procedure. Why? Why does it have to be precise? From the word standardized, it means it's standard, meaning it has to be the same all the time. Okay, now why is it, what's the importance of having a standardized menu? Of course, before that, let's discuss what a recipe is. A set of instructions for producing a certain dish. I'm sure this is not the first time I'm sure for those who are cooking, okay, you would once or twice have referred to a recipe from a cookbook or from from a site, from a link, okay, wherein you had to follow a certain recipe that you wanted to recreate, right? Tama? So you use a recipe, unless, of course, there's always grandma and mommy to teach you sometimes, but of course, it's more uh, easy. It's a lot easier if you read something because you could always go back to that recipe. That's why a recipe is there. All right. Now, there are limitations of standardized recipes. Now, first, food products are not uniform. What do I mean by this? For example, when it's a recipe says or calls for just a simple description of a piece of onion, how do you know what the size of onion is? Is it big? Is it small? Is it medium size? What is the weight? Or um, in terms of it, let's say if it's a white onion, it's a red onion. So you always have to also adapt or adjust to the needs of the recipe, and sometimes also the availability of the ingredients in your area. Okay, so for example, you're in the US, but you want to create what can you give me an example of a dish that only the Philippines has? For example, a recipe. Gosh. Or just for example, let's keep it simple. For example, sinigang, for example, but you are very, very fond of okra. Okay, but in the US, okra is not readily available. Maybe, I'm not sure. Okay, it might not be readily available, so you will not be able to put okra there because it's only in the Philippines that okra is year-round available. Or let's keep it simple, kangkong. Okay, you don't have kangkong in the US, but they have watercress. They have other forms of leafy vegetables like bok choy or or what else? Ano pa mga leafy vegetables in the US? Cabbage, for example. So these are all very basic leafy vegetables, but it's still not kangkong. Okay, so food products are not always uniform. Second, kitchens do not always have the same equipment. So we might have a very, very simple one stove range, meaning I can only cook one there, or or it's just a gas operated um, range and it's not induction, meaning it might take longer. Okay, or you are sometimes you don't have gas, maybe knock on wood, I hope not. um, you do it traditionally, meaning to put fire using wood, for example, and you cook it outside in a grill, okay, with wood. Babagahan you put fire in it, and you put a strong pot there, and that's the only way you could cook a stew, for example, because maybe your gas range was empty, or so your gas, I mean, was empty. Okay, so it's always impossible. It's very impossible to give exact instructions for many processes depending on the limitations that you have. Okay, so as defined, a standardized recipe is a set of instructions describing the way a particular establishment prepares a particular dish. Now, it's customized. It's usually developed by the food establishment. It's intended for the use of its own kitchen staff or the cooks. Okay, using its own equipment that will be used inside that same kitchen. Okay, which is prepared to be served for its daily patrons or clients. Okay, so we have here an example of a standardized recipe. So if you look at the format here, you will see that it's very organized, right? You will know, for example, let's discuss this recipe. Wait lang. Okay, later na yung structure. I'll discuss about the structure in a while. All right, so why do we need to have a standardized recipe? The functions, first, it's used to control productions and costs. So what do you mean by this? If you are working in an establishment, or in the future you might have a food business, okay, having a standardized recipe makes you control your costs. Why do I mean this? So you know that, for example, to produce, for example, a uh, I cannot think of a dish right now. Bistek Tagalog, for example. I'll just stick to Filipino muna for now. Okay, a bistek Tagalog dish. Okay, that is good for 30 people, because these are uh, the employees in your establishment, for example. You know that for 30 packs, okay, 100 grams each of beef sirloin is allotted. So for 30 packs, 100 grams each for 30 would mean I need 3,000 grams or 3 kilos of beef sirloin. Okay, do you get me, guys? So I know that I need to purchase for tomorrow 3 kilos of beef sirloin because there will be 30 people eating for lunch. Okay? So ahead of time, you know that this is the um, amount or the quantity of ingredients that I need to purchase. And if you follow that, you will be able to maintain the budget that you have for a week. Okay, for example, in your establishment, and you are able to set aside that money every week, so that you have the budget will be allotted just for the meals of the people. Do you get me, guys? You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, Miss.
Yes, Miss.
Right. So that's one of the function. It also ensures that the dishes are prepared and served uniformly, no matter who cooks it. So this is very, very important, especially for restaurants. Why? Okay. Who here has? Can you? Let's do some quick sharing. Who here goes to a specific restaurant because of a certain dish that you really like prepared? Can someone share? Can someone share? I'll call nila pag hindi magsalita. Kat, Kat Morales, can you share a specific dish that you usually eat in any restaurant that you really particularly like because of the taste, because of the quality, because it's always the same way it's prepared? Can you name me one?
Yung mga hipon po.
Anong saang restaurant? It has to be in a restaurant.
Nice. Kanin club po.
Okay, what specific dish in Kanin Club do you eat?
Yung mga crispy paka, mga yung ano po.
Kanin Club. So, describe ano yung, give me one dish, yung dinuguan rice nila, di ba they have that? Or the crispy dinuguan, if I'm not saying. Have you tried
Oh,
ordering?
yes po. Yung mga kare-kare po, Miss.
Okay. So, is that your final answer? Kare-kare, for example. Okay, so what about the kare-kare? Do you always, when you go there, is it always the same? It's how it's prepared?
Yes naman po.
Yes naman. Parang hindi ka sigurado. Ano ba yan? So, which branch are you going? Do you live in Quezon City?
No, Miss. Muntinlupa po.
Okay. So there's a club restaurant there. Okay. So what can you describe your kare-kare? What do you like about the kare-kare when you eat in Kanin Club?
Ano po siya, Miss? Masarap po siya. Yun po yung Filipino food, Miss, na pinakagusto ko po sa lahat.
Okay. Well, in terms of meat, are the cuts of the meat uniform? The bagoong on the side, is it the same?
Yung sabaw po nun,
Okay, the sauce.
yes po.
So it's always the same sauce when you eat there. There are no changes with the taste and everything.
Wala naman, parehas lang po.
Okay, same. Now, Kat, guys, for the sake of everyone else here, also we have one foreign classmate, so it's Seiko. So please make sure we speak in English all the time because so that Seiko can understand. All right. So for Kat, it's kare-kare in Kanin Club because of the sauce. So for her, it's 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 something that she goes always and order. I'm assuming that you always order when you're in Kanin Club because you like the sauce. It's the same all the time. Okay. So meaning, if that's the case, maybe in Kanin Club, the kitchen, the chef who prepares for it is the same chef. Maybe that's one, or it's most likely that they have a standardized recipe wherein the recipe for the kare-kare sauce is always the same and always have to follow. Like for example, uh, of course, I'll just stick to commercial recipes. For example, in that recipe, it calls for a 1/4 cup of peanut butter, half 500 ml of beef stock, 2 teaspoons of achuete oil for coloring, 1 teaspoon of rice powder for thickening, salt and pepper to taste. Maybe that's the standardized recipe of Canin Club. And so that every time Kat goes there and it's ordered, that same recipe is always being followed. Okay, so for a cat, oh, it's still the same taste. The same taste that the reason why I always order this. Okay, you get it, guys? So no matter who prepares it, as long as there's a standardized recipe, it should always have the same taste, consistency, looks, appeal that it should have, even if someone else did it. Okay, do you understand, guys? Yes?
Yes, Miss.
All right.
Yes.
Okay, good. All right, so now let's look at the structure of a recipe, the structure, the parts of a recipe. All right, let's look at each one. First, we have the recipe name. Of course, you need to know what you're cooking, right? So the recipe name is this one. Okay. Wala yung aking cursor. I'm just looking for my cursor for writing, and it's not here, unfortunately. All right, so this is your um, the recipe name. So we know that this is a cream of broccoli soup. The yield is what? Gives you how many portions, how many grams, what is the weight of your total recipe. So in this case, the cream of broccoli soup is good for 1 or 2 portions. Or maybe sometimes it can be 2 cups, for example. Okay, the ingredients specifies here the fabrication, preparations, quantity, and expected term yield, meaning it gives here, for example, the ingredients is broccoli and you need it small diced. That's the specifications. It means that it has to be cut in small cubes. Okay. It also specifies how much. So it's in, you need 60 grams of uh, small diced broccoli for this recipe. You need 5 grams of unsalted butter. Okay, you need a warm, it specifies here, a warm heavy cream, 30 ml of warm heavy cream. Okay, and so on and so forth. It also specifies the preparation, which means the procedure and how you're going to prepare or cook the recipe or the cream of broccoli soup. So it says here, sweat the broccoli, add the velouté, skim. Okay, at service time, add the cream as the last. Okay, it also says there as a note, add chopped parsley for garnish on top. Okay, so this is very direct to the point on a step-by-step process on how you will execute or cook your cream of broccoli. Okay, sometimes it also gives you the portioning or the plating on how you do it. For example, serve your cream of broccoli soup with a slice of melba toast, for example. Okay, or in this case, it says here add chopped parsley as a garnish. Okay, sometimes it will also give you necessary food safety procedures. Like for example, um, in this case, if cream is added, you might put as part of the procedure, for example, that add the cream at the last because it will curdle if it will be added in the beginning or something like that. Okay, so sometimes necessary food safety procedures are also included. And of course, lastly, okay, as I've said, it has to be recreated. It should be a duplicated dish. So meaning whatever equipment was also used should be the same. So in this case, you also indicate what equipments were needed or used to um, prepare or cook the cream of broccoli soup. Okay, so we have here some examples. Chopping board, it should be green because of of course, the vegetables that are used for the recipe. Of course, you need a chef's knife, okay, a wire whisk because or an immersion blender because it's a pureed recipe. Okay, a ladle for scooping or for portioning the the soup on the bowl. Okay, a soup cup with underliner, and of course a tasting spoon. Okay, or a soup spoon. So these things are also included so that on the service side also, they also know, for example, that okay, it should be served in a soup cup and not on a coffee cup. So they are able to check as well if if um, the servers or the kitchen staff prepared it right correctly inside the kitchen. Okay, are we good with this? Do you understand? Right?
Miss.
All right. So
Yes,
far,
Miss.
okay, good. Also, by the way, the menu type here, okay, it says here the menu type if it's an appetizer, if it's a main course, okay, if it's a dessert, okay. The classification is it a soup? Is it what do you call this? A meat item, or is it actually the menu type and the classification can sometimes be interchanged. Now you could use the same depending on uh, the recipe that's being prepared. Okay, right. Ito pala. All right, so this is a more descriptive way of um, preparing or making your standardized recipe. All right, so just to reiterate, the recipe name, okay, the ingredients, it specifies the exact amounts, the portioning, there you go, yield, there you go, the procedures, okay, also the cooking temperatures and times, and of course the equipment. Okay, so let's practice one recipe, okay, which will also be uh, part of your homework number 4. So we'll practice on one. You just get the recipe.
Miss, I have a question po.
Yes, yes, please.
Miss, is it necessary po to always include the food safety procedures in every standardized recipe that we
Mm,
have to make po?
Well, yes and no. It depends on the establishment, to be honest. But of course, it would be more advantageous if you do, right? Because it's also for the safety of the people preparing it. Like, for example, um, depends on the recipe. Like, for example, a fish. Okay, what would be some of the issues that we have with fish? It's the tinek, diba? The bones. If it says there that you need to fillet it, okay, and make sure that all the fish bones are removed, then it must mean something. It must have been placed there for a reason. Why? Maybe that specific fish is very known for having so many fish bones, for example, and little ones, for example. Like, for example, bangus. Am I right? If you've tried eating bangus, even if it's been deboned, sometimes there are little pin bones that are still part of it. And accidentally, maybe, hope not, a child ordered it, or maybe it's one of its favorites. And um, he got choked by it. Okay, so these safety procedures are there for a reason. Okay, they are there for a reason. So again, depending on the recipe, depending sometimes on the establishment, maybe, okay, that they put it there. Okay, thank
Okay,
you for
Miss.
asking.
Thank you,
Did I
Miss.
answer your question? Did you understand? Is it
Yes po.
okay? Good.
I
All right.
understood. Thank you, Miss.
Thank you. Any other question? Do you have any other question? Okay, so if you don't, let me just share my screen so that I will share to you um, an example of a recipe which we will do together. Now, part of the homework number 4 that you will be doing, okay, for your homework is, wait lang ha, is for you to standardize one recipe, okay, uh, from a link from a cookbook, from a website. Okay, one simple recipe. So let me give you an example of this. Okay, so I got here a hummus. Okay, if you're familiar with the hummus, okay, this is actually a Mediterranean dish. Okay, it's actually a dip. If you are a culinary arts track student, you will be doing this in your Gardma. okay, as part of your miscellaneous sauces, your hummus. Okay, so I got this from the internet lang last night, but I was preparing for my topic today. So let's identify each one. Name of dish. What is the name of the dish? What is the name of the
Hummus,
dish?
miss.
Okay, it's
Hummus.
hummus. Okay, so this is your hummus. Okay, it's what menu type? This is actually eaten as an appetizer. Okay, the classification, this can be considered a dip or a miscellaneous sauce. Okay, that is usually eaten in Mediterranean cuisine. Okay, this yield. Can you look if they have if the recipe has a yield? Can you check? Miss Cruz, Micaela.
Yes, Miss po.
So can you answer my question? Ay, sorry. Okay, sorry. Okay, so can you answer my question? Is it big enough? I'm sorry. Ginalaw ko pa. There. What is the yield of this hummus recipe? Kaela. Yeah?
Wait lang, Miss.
Hindi mo nababasag iyan? You see the recipe?
Yes po.
Where there does it give the yield? The yield shows you how many it can serve. O yan na. I have a...
Serves 8 po.
Okay. So it serves 8, meaning it can be served 8 portions or it can be 8 servings. Okay. The date prepared, you could just put the date today. Okay. So, by the way, the format here, okay, it can differ depending on the establishment. I am just following, this is actually Andrew's Cafe's format, okay, by Chef Jester Arellano. So I'm just using it just for uniformity purposes. Okay, so let's look at the ingredients. Now, speaking of ingredients, all right, so I know you are not all culinary arts students, but okay, but for the ingredients, you need to learn to use the metric system. So what is the metric system? Okay, everything, so you just, for this one, I included this also in the format, the metric conversions. Okay, you have to have all your um, ingredients quantity in metric system, meaning it has to be either always using weight. Okay, so for example, for volumes, for liquids, it has to be in ml, and then for solids, it has to be in grams. Now, why do you think should be it be in a metric conversion? Why should it we use the metric system? Can someone answer? Owen, what do you think is the reason why we have to use the metric system?
Dahil mas maliit ho, para mas madali ho siyang i-measure compare ho sa ibang units ho.
No. Going back to the definition of a standardized recipe. Again, going back to that. So if it is a metric system that you're using and it's in weight, using the weight, what can you say if it's using a weight as a basis and not measuring it by cups? Hello?
Miss,
Yes.
I think po, weight po yung ginagamit to para po pare-parehas ng weight. Kasi po 'pag cups, may times po na hindi po accurate. Yun
Thank
po.
you so much for that answer. So the reason for using the metric system is for it to have always the same weight whenever, going back to the description or the definition of standardized recipe, it has to be something being that can be recreated all the time. Now, if it's weight, if you're using a weight as a form of measurement, then it's accurate, right? Timbang, weight. Diba? I know, like me, I do not like seeing my weight, but I know it's accurate because it's the weight. I cannot just uh, basing it on the size of my shirt, for example. I know that I am heavy because this is my weight now. I can see that I am blah blah pounds. Secret. Okay, so um, the weight gives you an accurate um, quantity for that specific recipe. So in this case, okay, you have to convert, okay, the quantities of the recipe. Now, in this case, it says here 1.5 cups of chickpeas. Now, let me check on um, the grams here. Okay, so the recipe does not, I mean, this table that I got does not, there pala, sorry, there. 1.5 cups there. Like, we can use the flour conversions for now. Okay, it says there 1.5 cups of cooked chickpeas. So 1.5 cups. If it says here that, kaya lang hindi rin to. For now, let's just use the flour conversions. But this is, when we talk about chickpeas, it's usually heavier, no, compared to flour. So if it says here a cup is 125 and a half cup is 62, 125 and 62 is what? 125 plus 62 is 187 grams. Like, just for example lang, 187 grams of um, what's the first recipe? Ingredient of chickpeas. Okay, so hummus is actually made of garbanzos or chickpeas. Okay, chickpeas. This is how you write this. Chickpeas, cooked, drained, and rinsed. Okay, do you follow me, guys? We're still here on the first ingredient. Next one, 1/3 cup of smooth tahini. Okay, tahini, smoothened. Okay, 1/3 cup. Let's just refer again, for example, on the flour conversion here. 1/3 cup says here it's 42 grams. Okay, so the metric system, by the way, uses grams and kilograms, milliliters, and liters for the volume. Okay, grams and kilograms for solid weight items. Okay, so sorry, what's the answer? It's, if it's 1/3 cup, it's 42 grams. Guys, again, I'm just using for now the weight conversion for flour as an example lang. So 42 grams. Okay. Next, we have the EVOO, extra virgin olive oil. EVOO. Does it specify anything? No. 2 tablespoons. Okay, ito na tayo. 2 tablespoons. Okay, EVOO is a liquid. Okay, so what is 2 tablespoons? It's given here. Ala, nasa na yun? There. Maliit kasi, it's so small. So 2 tablespoons. It says here that 4 tablespoons is equal to 60 grams. Since we're talking about a liquid, okay, extra virgin olive oil is a liquid. So we talk about volume. Okay, do you get me, guys? So liquid is a volume. EVOO is a liquid, and in terms of measuring, the unit of measurement for that is milliliters. So it's also the volume measurement. So if 4 tablespoons is 60 ml, then it means that 2 tablespoons is what? Half of 4?
30.
Okay. So it means that you are using 30 ml of of extra virgin olive oil. Okay, let's move on. Lemon juice. You could put here, since it says they're fresh, freshly squeezed. Okay, what is the quantity given there? It's 2 tablespoons. Okay, so same thing. 2 tablespoons means it's also going to use 30 ml of freshly squeezed lemon juice. Okay, now for the garlic clove, okay, let's just estimate garlic. Okay, the specification for this one is clove. When you talk about, by the way, in the future when you check your recipes, if it says head, it means that it's the whole bulb. If it says garlic clove, it's the one butil. It's one little garlic. That's a clove. Okay, so let's maybe just estimate if one garlic clove maybe is 5 grams. Actually, it's even smaller. Usually 2.5. That just for exercise sake. By the way, this should be small, ha, but my word app is my word is converting it automatically to capital letters. Okay, so garlic is this: half a teaspoon of salt, sea salt, half a teaspoon. Okay, you will see later on the table that 1 teaspoon is actually 5 grams. So it says there a teaspoon, half a teaspoon, then it should be half a teaspoon is 2.5 grams. Okay. So salt is is a solid. It's a weight. Okay. It's here. Okay. In this recipe, oh, wala palang teaspoon. Okay. So guys, I know this will be quite difficult. I'll send you a more accurate conversion, okay, of the metric system. Like for this one, it does not say a teaspoon, but usually 3 teaspoons is equal to 1 tablespoon of in conversion, and 1 tablespoon is 15 grams. 1 teaspoon is 5 grams also. So that's why my answer here for half a teaspoon, okay, is 2.5 grams. Okay, don't worry, I'll send you a more accurate metric conversion. Okay, where are we? Water. Okay, it says there 5 tablespoons, and we know that 1 tablespoon of water is actually 15 ml. So 15 times 5 is, tama ba, 5 tablespoons? Yeah, 75 ml of water. Okay, now the paprika does not say any quantity. Paprika, maybe there are recipes who will give that. It's okay. Says there for garnish. Okay, warm pita bread. Okay, depending on the recipe you're using, if it does not specify any quantity, just leave it as is. So in this case, it does not say anything, so you can leave the quantity column blank. Okay, so remember, you're just transferring this and putting it in a standardized recipe format. All right, so procedure, let's have a very, very simple procedure. So it says there in a high blender, in a high blend, high speed blender. Okay, place the chickpeas. Okay, and so on and so forth and so forth to reach desired consistency. Okay, and then for number 2, it says there, transfer to serving plate. Um, blah, 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 as desired. Okay. Now there's a note there. If the recipe also calls for that, you could put a same asterisk there. Tahini brands preferred. Tahini brand preferred is Cedars, for example. Okay, we could put that there. And then for the tools and equipment, if you notice, there is none here in the recipe, but you will be able to input them by checking the instructions. Also, as part of the tools and equipment, please indicate your weighing scale or what else? In this instructions, it says there a blender, high-speed blender. You could also put spatula, a rubber spatula. Okay, so be creative. I know maybe that some of you don't cook, but use your imagination. If you were going to cook, what do you think do you need to use for the recipe? Okay, so guys, keep it simple lang. We are just doing primlek. Unless you are really a kitchen person, then of course, by all means, choose whatever recipe you want. But if this is your first time um to do an activity on recipes, just keep your recipe simple. Okay. All right. So far, so good. Do you have any questions? Did you understand this very simple recipe that we've tried doing, guys?
Yes po.
Sure.
Yes, miss.
Sure,
Yes po.
everyone.
Yes.
Seiko, did you understand?
Yeah.
Are you sure? Seiko, are you there? Seiko lang ba nawawala or can someone talk? I need to know, baka it's my Wi-Fi.
Hello, hello.
Okay, there. Okay,
Yes, hello. Yes,
yes,
can you hear me right now?
yes, yes, yes.
Yes, yes, I could understand what you're saying about
Okay,
that. Thank you for explaining.
yes, thank you, thank you. I'm just making sure.
Yes.
All right. So, Seiko, if there's some things that you don't understand, because sometimes we talk our language, our Tagalog language, and uh, we sometimes forget that you are there. Just let me know.
Ah,
Message me if there are some things that you did not understand because we speak in Tagalog. Okay.
honestly, I can understand a little bit of Tagalog, so you don't need to worry about it, madam.
Okay, that's good. O, magka-Tagalog na lang kami.
Sige lang.
Okay, that's good. So I thought you were just joking. But anyways, we'll still speak as much as possible in English so that you'll be able to understand more better. All right. So, okay. So this is the example. Now I will be uploading a format a blank format of this um, example. Wait lang so that you could see. Okay, so this is the blank format. Okay, it's the same um, file that we used earlier, but this time this is blank. Okay, so I'll upload this in our Big Sky, in your Big Sky, and you just fill this up. Okay, so also using this one, don't worry about the spacing. You can just enter your return button, okay, and it will just expand. Okay, it will expand. I have designed the table in such a way that it's by area. So it's ingredients, procedure, and tools and equipment. So it can go down and down, okay, depending on the number of items that you are going to type in that specific box. Okay, so are we clear, guys? Hello,
Yes, Miss.
did you
Yes
understand it?
po.
Yes
All right,
Yes
po.
po.
Yes po.
that's good. I'll
Yes.
upload the metric conversions. Guys, as I've said, please keep it simple. Okay, hindi pa naman, we're not doing cuisines yet. Just keep it simple. Even if it's just a 5 quantity or 5 item recipe, I don't mind. It's more of you. My goal here, my objective is just for you to understand how um, to write a standardized recipe and why we're doing this. Okay, so please also attach a screenshot of the original recipe or the link, but better if you do a screenshot so that I could do it's easier to check side by side the recipe that you're using and what you transferred on the other page. All right, is that clear, guys?
Yes po.
All
Yes
right,
Opo.
po.
great, thank you. Okay, hold on, let me just check if I okay, so I've already uploaded the standardized recipe and the cycle menu. So you will see already homework number 3 and 4 in your Dropbox. So please do that already. Please answer that. For for your homework 1 and homework 2 in my screen, in my record, there is still one missing in homework for famous chef. So I hope whoever this person is, okay, it's kind of weird na hindi pa updated our I'm not sure if our class list has been updated by the registrars already because in my class list it's 39 but I have 41 submissions. Okay, so I don't mind having a lot of you in my class. Everyone's welcome, but I hope those who have still issues with the registrars of not being recorded in terms of their payments, please um, coordinate with them if you're still having problems. I hope there aren't any here who were removed from the Big Sky because there were issues with the schedule of what they call this of the registrars. Okay, so another announcement that I am gonna make is sorry guys, I'm all my announcements I'm doing it on a asynchronous one at a time basis. I don't want it to be advanced all the time because our schedule and the academic calendar changes all the time. And when it changes and I already have a fixed thing already in mind for that specific day, it becomes all garbled again and I have to redo it. So I'm just doing it on a weekly basis, okay? So that I know that, okay, next week for sure, there are no changes, there are no interruptions or events that will interrupt our class. So that's why I'm doing it really on a weekly basis. So I hope you don't mind, and I hope it also works for you, so that I think it's more organized that way than putting it ahead of time. So one of the things that I also want to announce is that midterms will be on March 1 as scheduled by the 7th, because it falls on the 7th week. Okay, is that clear? I also want to
Yes, Miss.
show. All right, great. Thank you for answering. Let me just share also to you, not this. Okay, can you see my screen, guys?
Yes
Yes,
po.
bro.
Yes,
Okay,
Miss.
Yes, Miss.
so you have here on the screen your grading management scheme or the grade table. I know in your big sky, your view as a student, okay, your view in your student's account does not look like this, right? Okay, it's usually pa table. It's usually what do you call this? Horizontal. Okay, so this is the how it's gonna look on my screen. So this is also based on the divisions and percentage allocations we discussed during the first day. Okay, but okay, you just might be confused. Why is it in such numbers? Now again, the whole 14 weeks is 100%. So meaning the first 7 weeks is 50%. I will be getting 50% of the grade on the first 7 weeks, and then the next 50%. So the division of the percentages are also the same. Like for example, in the table that I gave you last on our first meeting, I said the class participation is 10%. But since we are dividing the 10% for the whole term, 7, so it's just going to be 5% for the first 7 weeks and the next 5% also for the next half, for the 8th week until the 14th week. Okay, MT stands for midterm. That's the first 7 weeks, and PF stands for the pre-finals. That's the next 7 weeks after. So that's week 8 to 14. Okay, just to give you an idea of the what they call this, the terminologies that we use for the grading system. Okay, so every time I give you an output and requirement, I include it here under the other output requirements. Okay, so far I have required 4. Okay, these first 2 should have been submitted. Dito magkakaroon ako ng additional. This will be, I will have a quiz 1 here as part of your first input for your quiz number 1. So there will be a quiz 1 here, and as well as it will appear also in your big sky as quiz number 1. Okay, is that clear, everyone? I hope I was able to make you understand the grading management of Big Sky. It's kind of confusing I know it's a little bit confusing when you see it on your table, okay, because Big Sky has a lot of, what do you call this, numerical columns, no? Sometimes. So, yun lang, just to give an overview. Anyways, every time you submit a grade and I grade it, okay, it automatically reports to you, right? It notifies you that your file has been graded, so you know your grade right away. So that's what's nice about Big Sky. Same thing when you do your quizzes. Okay, guys, you're not as engaging as our first synchronous meeting last time, huh? So I hope you wake up. This will be actually this is the only agenda for today for my lecture. Next week, I will not be anymore. Again, we will not meet, okay? Because as I've said, we are only required we are required just 7 meetings total to meet synchronously. Everything else is asynchronous, okay? But do expect that I will release again another topic next week. I think on cooking methods, if I'm not mistaken. So for you to also view again, understand, okay, and prepare to study, because definitely everything that I discuss synchronously and asynchronously will be part of your midterm exam. Okay? Humarap naman kayo. Please show your faces. If I am discussing, I want to see everyone's faces, please. Okay, we've discussed this on our first meeting. Okay, because it's very important for me to see you. Okay, and you not sleeping. Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. All right. Do you have any questions so far? Was I able to explain to you the activities for your homeworks? Okay, for the cycle menu, are you sure there are no more questions? Let's go through it one by one so that I know if I need to further clarify the instructions. Homework number 1 on cycle menu. So you just have to do 5 days of lunch menu for an employee's meal. 5 lang, ha? Okay, so just follow the example I did for today. Okay, keep it simple again. Again, do not anymore hypollute yourselves with very sagalaan na naman to si Seiko, na not to highfalutin recipes. Okay, so that you keep it simple. All right? Didistract ako sa kanya. Seiko! Seiko,
Yes, madam.
where are you again?
I'm in the outside right now.
While you're holding classes?
Yeah.
Make sure, I don't know how you're doing this, that you're outside and you're having classes. That is not the proper decorum. If you have class, you stay at home. You stay at home. You're not always everywhere doing whatever. Anyways,
Okay, I got you.
that's you're always doing this to me. You're always doing something. Okay, so anyways, I hope whose audio is that? Anyways, okay, so I'm very sorry for the distractions today on my Wi-Fi, but it happens. Hindi lang kayo nagkakaproblema. Even I also have concerns with my internet. So there. All right. I know I've given you a lot of activities, and there's a reason for everything. Okay. Please make sure you study. Please make sure you send and upload those files in your Dropboxes, and please study for your quiz. Okay. Is that clear?
Okay, I got you.
So,
Okay, I'm so sorry, madam.
I also want to reiterate also that you could always, I'm sure some of you have already reached out to me. You know how very accessible I am in Facebook. Okay, I announce everything on Facebook and in Big Sky. So I hope I don't get any complaints that you did not receive an announcement or you did not know about it. Okay, it's your responsibility to always check my announcements on Facebook and on Big Sky and through email. Okay, is that clear, guys?
Yes.
Right. So
Yes.
good.
Yes po.
All right. So we finished. We're finishing early today. May I ask Ms. Lantin to give us our final prayer?
Let us all remember that we are in the most holy presence of God. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Dear God, we thank you for this wonderful day. We thank you for the time that you've given us to gather and to learn the lectures that we're supposed to learn today. And please continue to guide us throughout this day. And please bless the food that we're about to partake in our lunch. And that's about it. Thank you very much, Lord. In the name of the Father, and Son, and Holy Spirit. Amen.
Thank you, Ms. Lantin. Oo nga, lunchtime na pala. Thank you so much. So I hope you were able to, it's a short meetup, but I hope I was able to explain to you all the activities, guys. I know, yes lang kayo ng yes, but I'm so sure there will be follow-up questions. So Okay, give it to me. I know you will be doing that and messaging me again. Sige na, wag lang. I hope these are questions that I did not discuss. Okay, because if it's something that I discussed and it means you were not listening. Okay, is that clear? All right. So
Yes, madam.
live life to the fullest, eat lunch very well, and good luck with all your other classes for today and for the rest of the week. Okay, so thank you so much. I'll see you next week. And please, again, please check for all my announcements. All right. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Bye.
Miss.
Goodbye. Bye.
Man.
Thank you
Thank you,
po,
Thank you,
Miss.
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 Thank
Thank
you,
you,
Miss.
Miss.